So welcome to this podcast with me, Chris Jones, from the Firewalk Experience. I'm delighted to have Mindy with me in the studio. We've just done a firewalk with Mindy for the North Ealing Primary School, and I really just wanted to get her take on the experience because we've had a lot of interest from other PTAs about running a firewalk to raise money for the school. As we all know, governments are not particularly good at investing into education, so we have to take matters into our own hands to raise much needed funds for schools. And I think every school in the country would benefit by an influx of, say, 10 grand. So welcome, Mindy. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Yeah, super busy because it's the Easter holidays. So it's looking after kids all day.
Right. So let's dive straight in. What was your firewalk experience like? Take us back to that night when it went dark and the embers were in front of you. What was it like for you?
So I did it myself. So I actually did the walk because everybody said, as a chair of the PTA, you can't not walk. So I thought, yeah, why not? I'm generally not a person who gets scared. And I wasn't scared up until the point where I stood and I watched the embers. But then I saw so many other people go ahead of me. We had a lot of the teachers go. We had some really great friends just walk it. And then as they came back, they were just like really on a high. And I thought, you know what? I want to be on that high too. And we'd done so much prep beforehand that it felt sort of like a culmination of this is something we really, really need to do. It was after the whole kind of prep and the enthusiastic kind of cheering. It just made me feel like empowered, really. So standing in front of those embers was scary, but also just made me feel like a superwoman. And stepping on them was hot.
Yeah, it is funny, isn't it, in the training, how you get so in state and you get so kind of energized that you actually forget that it is going to be hot when you do it.
Yeah. And I forgot that I stomp when I walk. So I stomped a little bit at the start, and then I had to remember halfway through. I was like, no, you don't stomp on this. So,
exactly. You move with the momentum.
Yeah, it became slightly easier. The first couple steps are a little bit scary because I wouldn't say they're scary, but you don't really fully understand how hot something is, because I don't think anybody I've ever known has stepped on something that hot, and never in my life would I have done that. So the first couple of steps are like, oh my gosh, that's really hot, but then by your third step you're like, I'm doing this, you're already on there, just get it done.
Right. And it's interesting, isn't it, because as it is quite literally a firewalk, but some of your teachers, staff, and parents walked 3, 4, 5 times.
I know. There was one guy who I'm pretty sure was like addicted to it. I was just like, you don't have to walk that many times. Thank you very much. But are you getting sponsorship every time you walk? Do you get more money?
Yeah.
He wasn't getting more money for the more times he walked, which was, I think personally, he let us down on that. And next time I'll make sure to say to them, so that you say to people, every single time you walk, you get an extra 100 quid or something. I don't know.
Right.
But it would have been a good idea. But yeah, he absolutely... that parent, and then we had also one of our sponsors did it. He did it 3 times.
Yeah.
And we're still hearing from him about like how it felt and how he was on an absolute high. It was really fantastic. I only did it once. Because I was just like, that was it. It was great. Right. I didn't want to spoil a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's very typical, when we do a group of about 30 people, and I think we had a little bit more than that, but usually about half the people don't walk more than once, but each time it kind of halves, so about 15 of that group would have walked a second time, and then about 7 or 8 would have walked a third time, and by the time we're to the 4th and the 5th, it's the hardcore, very often it's the people who've come and they said, I've not decided whether I'm going to do it or not, and then something happens on the firewalk for them, and they're like, not only am I going to do it, I'm going to do it 5 times.
I know.
And,
we actually
crazy.
had one of the my son's friend's parent. She's a cancer doctor, breast cancer doctor, and I didn't even know she was going to do it. She didn't strike me as a type to do a firewalk. I mean, like genuinely, she's not. She just is so straight laced. Never would I have thought she'd done it, and she did it twice. She went back, and we got like photos of her doing it just to send to her, because we were just like, Wow, like amazing. She's quite tall, so I don't know if that helps. I don't know. I don't know if
Well,
like being able to gracefully walk across helped.
yeah, well, I suppose the height will give her a longer gait, but still, it's still 5 or 6. Very,
It
very.
is.
I always say it's the shortest sponsored walk, but also the hottest one.
It
Um,
is. Yeah, yeah.
so
It was one. I think it's harder than doing like a marathon.
yeah, exactly. So the energy was electric. I'm sure you picked up on it, but I remember, when we all went out, there's an enormous cheer, and then
Oh.
the kids they were so loud. I've never really been to a firewalk where the kids were so highly engaged.
The kids were like, I think they were the ones who kind of pushed parents to do it more so than anything else. Like, you always say kid power to make parents buy junk. Well, kids power made parents walk on this. So I think at the start, I think it was you who came in and did a session with the school. And after that, my kids came and were like, Mom, are you going to walk? And I don't know what you're talking about. I tried to act like I didn't have a clue. And because they know I'm chair of the PTA, they were just like, come on, Mom, we know you're organizing this. And they were the ones who really pushed me to do it, And I think the kids' power is immense. And they were so enthusiastic about it. And I will say, after I walked, a lot of people came up to me, but the majority of them were kids. The majority of them were kids coming to check and see I was okay, which was incredibly kind. But they also want to see my feet.
Yeah.
It was a real thing. Can we see your feet?
Right. And of course, we do the training and then we do the firewalk, but we'll get to this in a moment. But the kids also had something to do. They had a Lego walk happening at the same time. But we'll swing back round to that. And that's one of the reasons why I went into that assembly about a week earlier, just to invite them all to come and do the Lego walk, but also to convince Mum and Dad and embarrass some of the teachers to commit to come and do the firewalk. So let's just talk about specifics. We've got quite a lot to get through, and I'm sure it won't take long, but we want to talk about how much you raised and the organisation and how it all worked on the day, and the Lego walk and safety, insurance, risk assessments, and how to do the outreach to raise the money, sponsorship. So we want to get through all of that. But let's start with, the very obvious thing, which was, what was your target and where have you landed?
So our target was originally $5,000 because that felt like, I think most of our events, we try and make sure we earn between $3,000 and $4,000. But we thought this was a really special one. It was unusual. It wasn't been one we'd done before. So our target was $5,000. We raised more than double that. I think in the end, it's something like $11,000 we've raised. And I mean, for one night, that is insane. And we didn't even, like, normally we'd have food and we'd have volunteers selling food and we'd have volunteers selling drinks. And that would raise us some cash because, I mean, everybody always makes profit on food and drink. We didn't even do that this time. We actually bought in outside vans so they could do it. So the parents can only walk. We didn't want to have to distract anybody. But even with us not doing that ourselves, we raised a phenomenal amount. We kept, in fact, throughout it, we kept increasing the target on our sponsorship page because we just kept seeing money rolling in. And I think money is still coming in now. This is
Right.
about a month later?
Yeah. So I think it's a really important organisational point, which is very often PTA events do their own burgers and you want to release the parents from that so that they can actually do the firewalk, partly because it's such an amazing event, but also they're the most engaged and probably going to raise the most money as well.
Yeah, exactly that. Some of the ones who would be most engaged would be the ones who would normally volunteer. So you want to make sure that they're free to just do it. And it's also like a way of giving back to parents, saying to them, we don't want you to have to do anything. Just relax, go and have fun. And that's exactly the atmosphere we had that night. We had a drinks van that I got so easy to book online. We got a pizza van, so easy to book online again. Everything was like that. The only thing we did ourselves was sell some leftover crisps that we had. We just wanted to get rid of. But that was at the start. And that went so quickly that all of us just were able to just concentrate on doing just the fun bit, really.
Right. So let's just kind of go back in time to the point where the decision was made to do it. I remember going on a recce to the school and meeting the head teachers and it was decided then that we were going to do it. There was from that point on, a number of things happened. Obviously, creating a Just Giving page, but how did you approach reaching out to people, and what was that experience like?
So we did, I think you sent us a video for it, which was incredibly helpful. We had an event at the start of the year of film night. And what we did is during that film night, at the end, so they start and at the end, we showed the film. And that piqued the kids' interest, and they kept asking, what is that? What is that? What is that? And then we did an assembly where you go in and you actually talk to kids about what it is. Then we sent out posters, we sent out information, we had people talk about it online. And it's a quick little thing of like just somebody I did a little video just going, oh my gosh, this is coming up, and just talking about how scary it is and saying, look at me, I love your kids enough that I'm going to walk on fire for them. It was really about just making sure that, I'm not saying we bombarded them, but I would say on a weekly basis, we sent something, even if it was just, don't forget about this, don't forget about that. And also it really helped with sponsorship, because when you get a sponsor, they want to make sure that you're constantly talking about their stuff. So it was just a constant engaging with them and talking to parents also. So in the school, as people are walking in, you start talking to people and you find the influencers, because every school has an influencer. There are parents in every year that every parent knows. And if you get them on your side, they will get people on their side. So I know the ones in pretty much every year, and I would just stop and talk to them and be like, hi, do you remember about this? So that was really, really good.
Right. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. We did make a little trailer, which we do for all our firewalks with, dates and the proposition, and it's suitably scary and very high energy. And then, of course, we've got loads of photos from past firewalks that we can share with you for, building into your social media. And now with tools like Canva, it's very easy to put together really slick little posters and bits of art and social media posts. And so I don't recall the exact number, because I was tracking the Just Giving page as well, but it felt like you got to well over £5,000 or £6,000 by the day that we were doing it. Does that feel about right? Something like that?
We got it before. I would say probably the week before we got to it to that point, and that's when we just kept hiking it up. One of the things I should say is the sponsor also made sure to hype it for us. And it's kind of making sure you pick the right sponsor. The sponsor we had was for one of these swim schools in this area. So we picked one who kind of water with fire. So that was our promotion of you'll walk on fire and he'll help out with his water. It was that kind of slick thing about it. And then he kind of promoted it with all his parents in his group too. And I mean, he's one of the local swim schools that's oversubscribed, so he helped us also push it. So it was just making sure you got the right sponsor, and that you got and we had more than one sponsor asking us to do this, so it was just making sure that he worked as hard as we did.
Right. And that sponsor, they're already a successful, thriving business, and they're getting social media assets as well, like video and photos, and they love all that.
Yes, yeah. Adam absolutely loved it. He was one of the ones who walked 3 times, which is just crazy. And he was so keen about it. He kept posting it on the local Facebook groups. He posted it on his own, with anything he sent out with parents. He kind of had a little, I think, one of those things that he bought, just saying, signatures saying, this is what we're doing. And we made sure to push him quite a lot, just in everything that we were doing. We stuck posters up around his school as well. Another big thing, you ask the school to make sure to send all the emails they possibly can. It has to be an effort, not just from the PTA, but it has to be an effort from the school, because they send out so many things all the time. Right.
So let's talk about the day of the Firewalk. What was the execution of it like? Because obviously, you're involved in putting it all together, but there's a moment where you kind of put down your PTA organizer hat and you become firewalking delegate. And what was the experience of the training and putting it all together like?
On the day?
Yeah.
I didn't really do anything on the day other than attend attend the training session. So it was amazing because I could just give everything up. As in, I didn't have to really think about it. And that was really nice because I wasn't there as a PTA. I was there as a parent who was doing stuff. And it was just nice to let go. Yeah. It was really nice. So I turned up the training and it was so well organized that I didn't need to sit down and think a single thing about it. You know, right. It was generally absolutely amazing.
Right.
So, yeah, I think you ran the whole thing for me.
Yeah. I got to say you were a rowdy bunch as well, which really, it really helped. It was very nice because the training and presentation is noisy and energetic, and you all kind of raised to that standard and elevated and shook the building. It was again, it's all about that high energy, and I think the kids outside could probably hear it all going on, which is why when you came outside, they also went up to that crazy level of, just very, very noisy and excited.
Yeah, I think so. And I think also because they did the Lego walk first, it made them even more excited about what we were going to do. And in their heads, they thought, we did this. The parents are going to do it too. I don't think they got that ours was a little bit hotter than theirs. But I think they were thinking, oh, this is a continuation of what we've just done. But they were super excited for us. There were some kids who were saying we're a little bit scared for mom and dad. And then there were other kids like mine who were like, go and do it. No concern whatsoever. So yeah, they were super excited. As was the crowd. It was so nice. Before everybody, and we came out, they were cheering us. But before everybody walked, so literally when we lined up, people cheered us on. And, it was nice having, I guess it's being a footballer and you go to a match and you've got your home team, your home supporters cheering you on. That's what it felt like. It genuinely felt like it just uplifted our spirits.
Yeah. Yeah. So while we were doing the training, everybody, mum and dad and kids and, family members were gathering outside. And that's when the Lego walk was happening. And I believe something like 100 Lego walks happened.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the kids got addicted to it. I think they were a bit we've done it once. It's been all right. My kids did it 3 times. And the thing is, at home, they're always dropping Lego on the floor and stepping on it and complaining endlessly. They did not do that on the Lego walk. I was just like, this is okay. It's I think personally far worse than being at home, because at home, at least it's only a few Lego. With you, it was tons. But they were just they absolutely loved it. They just absolutely loved it. And they just kept wanting to go over and over and over. And I think also because they got sponsored, because they'd had Granny and Grandpa sponsor me to do this. They wanted to just do it.
So it's another revenue stream as well. It's not as big as the Firewalk, but it's, as you know, from PTA perspective, every little bit helps.
Yeah. I don't think is it as big a revenue stream? I would say it's not as big a revenue stream, but it is a huge revenue stream because people love adults, but people really love children. And Granny and Grandpa, aunts and uncles, cousins will first, I think, sponsor a child sometimes, and they will do an adult. And one of the things about our sponsorship is we didn't just get sponsorship from people, we got sponsorship from companies. We made sure to say to every parent, any parent who signed up, we would email them and say, can you just check if your company match funds? And I think that's something you should always do. Check if your company match funds. And then we got some match funding from 3 or 4 companies. And that makes a significant difference. That's another 500 quid or so.
Right. Okay. Let's just talk briefly about safety, insurance, risk assessments, fundamentally about keeping everybody safe. So from my perspective, as you know, we have insurance. I can't even remember the amount, something like 10 million. I always say at the beginning of the presentations that from an insurance perspective, it's considered safer than five-a-side football. And we do all the risk assessments. But how did you feel about that? Did you have that vibe that everybody was being kept very safe?
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, you convinced our head teacher, who is beyond risk adverse. And the fact that you managed to convince them meant that we knew it was going to be safe. Because when we suggested it, I'll be honest, when a parent suggested it to us, our treasurer, she's health and safety mistress. So every time we have anything, she does all of our health and safety forms, and they are so detailed. I mean, I think the government could use them. They're so fantastically detailed. But when we first suggested it, she was like, this is crazy. And then she spoke to you and she was like, oh, okay, let's suggest to school. And then we said to the school and they said, this is crazy, but we'll speak to him. And then you spoke to them and they were fine. And the fact that you had said that to them, I was just like, well, we're good. We're good to go. Absolutely. We did have to do our own risk assessment because of our insurance. But because yours was so detailed, it was really easy for us to kind of piggyback off of it and to be able to do it. It wasn't a difficult thing for us at all to get to sort it out.
Right, yeah. I mean, because it is worth pointing out that there are fundamentally two events happening with the Firewalk. There's the Firewalk, which includes the people walking the fire, and then there's the people who are watching, who are buying a pizza while we're inside training. And it's so you kind of do need to have an eye on that kind of event and an eye on the other event. So it is a really important distinction, that you just need somebody outside while we're dealing with the Firewalk inside and the training, somebody making sure everything stays safe outside as well, which is, I guess, normal PTA style stuff at that point. So let's talk about the outreach as well, before, during, and after, and on socials, and what really helped you penetrate and really get the message out to people.
I'm not sure if there's any one specific thing that probably hit the target. I think it's constant because you need to be on top of it to remind them, because parents forget. In fact, I think after like our third or fourth time of us sending stuff out, I mentioned it to a parent in one of my kids' class, and she was like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "Sorry, you've not seen any of the stuff we've sent out about it. I mean, specifically even a Firewalk. It's something that's so different." And then she was, "Oh yeah, the kids mentioned it," and that's kind of the thing that propelled it. I think the first thing that really kind of pushed it or made it a little bit more noticeable for people was the kids talking about it. I think if you don't get the kids on your side and the kids don't kind of push it forward, and I think the most important part of that was telling them about the Lego walk, because they were doing the Lego walk. They thought, oh great, let's do the Firewalk. But I think if you're in a company, it might be a little bit easier than doing it in a school, because they don't listen. It's just, bless them, they just don't listen. But so you need every avenue of trying to get them to listen. So talking to everybody, as I said, about those influencers in each class, about sending out amazing posters, about getting you to come in and speak to them, the school putting out information, the sponsor putting out information. It's just literally pushing it out as much as you can all the time.
Right. Well, I think we've covered pretty much everything and really captured the vibe of the events. But just from your perspective now, what were your high points? What was the best part of the whole experience for you?
I genuinely love the training. It was really just nice to be in a group of people, and we were feeling really empowered, and we were shouting, and we were getting really excited. I liked walking on the glass, because that was I think I found that a little bit more scary in my head than doing the Firewalk itself. But I think the training for me was probably like my highlight of the night. Just being around like-minded people and seeing parents that I never thought would have done this actually doing it. I was just like, wow, you're here. Like, and that was the thing, is I hadn't looked at the list of people who had signed up. And so when I turned up, I was genuinely surprised. And I think some of them were genuinely surprised about me. And I hadn't realized that many teachers had signed up. And the reason they signed up is because the kids had been badgering them. Like genuinely badgering them in class.
I did kind of plant that when I came into the assembly to embarrass the teachers into walking, but they had a great time, and it was so lovely to see the kids go absolutely crazy when their teacher was walking fire, and I could not believe the noise that came out of the kids. It was so loud and so energetic. It was an incredible vibe.
It was just really nice. I guess from their point of view, it's just nice to be able to shout. Because normally they're asked to be kept quiet, but this time they were like, we can cheer, we can be happy about this, we can show our enthusiasm. And I think they genuinely did. Like, really, I looked back at the video of myself doing it, and I can hear the kids' voices as loudly as I can hear the parents. And in fact, I'm pretty sure I can hear my son's voice in it. So he shouted quite loudly. Yeah, but they were so enthusiastic, the kids were. Just absolutely enthusiastic.
So there was a lot of talk on the night about doing it again next year. So are we going to do it again next year?
So we've thought about it, and I think we're going to wait at least 1 year, skip a year. And the reason is because it's such a novel idea. We didn't want to overdo it because it would be the same parents who are going to do it again. So we're going to skip a year and then do it again. But we're definitely going to redo it. It's not something we're not going to do. It's part of our repertoire now. So, we're going to keep it in like our flow of what we're going to do because it raised so much money. Like, I can't even believe one night we raised that amount of money. It raised something like $5,000 more than we raised off Christmas fairs, which is beyond amount of effort than we would do. And I wouldn't say we didn't put effort into this. I would say the effort was much less and less intense. Because Chris, you guys did mostly work. You did mostly work.
Thank you. So my final question, if you were going to advise another PTA member from another school, what advice would you offer them about a firewalk?
Do it. I would say do it. Don't I know it sounds scary, and I've actually posted on Facebook groups, all the PTA Facebook groups I'm part of, that we've done this. I put a video up, and I've been talking to people about it. It makes a lot of money. My advice is don't be afraid to do it. I know you might think the school is going to say no. Tell them how much money they can make, and schools will be on your side. Absolutely. And I would say make sure to always get the information out all the time and whisper in every kid's ear about it. That is, they are the ones who will get the parents and the teachers to do something. Make sure you've got the kids, and I would do it with a Lego walk as well. You have to throw something there for the kids. And then don't do the food yourself. Don't do the catering yourself. Get an external van, you rest, let them sell everything. And get a sponsor, because that's extra cash. And they will do the kind of advertising for you as well.
We didn't do it at this one because there's an additional cost. But what we've also done at previous ones is done like creepy crawly handling. And that always works with the kids as well, like whether it's holding a tarantula or hissing cockroaches or snakes, because the kids love it. And it's completely safe. But it makes for great photos, and it's alongside the Lego walk. It works very, very well in that kind of sponsor your grandchild to hold a tarantula. It's very, very photogenic. People love the photos of all of that, and it's surprisingly fairly inexpensive to add on to an event, and will almost certainly make way more money than it costs. So maybe we'll do that with the next Firewalk that we do with you. Alongside the Lego walk, we'll bring tarantulas.
Yeah, I love that idea. I absolutely love that idea. I think one of the things you always do is have to keep things fresh. You have to kind of always have an added bit onto it. So which is one of the reasons we can't do it next year, because it won't be fresh. It will be something that somebody's already done. So in 2 years' time, there will be a turnover. So it'll be something that people will have forgotten. I think also I would have forgotten I did it. So I'll be enthusiastic enough to do it again. But it's like, I think that's a great idea, actually, doing the creepy crawlers. I'm definitely adding that on next time. Definitely.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, Mindy, thank you so much for talking with me and sharing so enthusiastically about the extraordinarily successful event and the huge amount of money raised. I'm going to get this posted. I'll send you a link to it so you can have a listen. But I look forward to seeing you on the next Firewalk.
That's fantastic, Chris. I can't thank you enough. You guys did such an amazing job. You made it easy for us. We raised so much money. We'd never really would have thought about it if we hadn't seen like a poster for it. And I'm so grateful. Absolutely grateful.
Amazing. Thank you so much. All right,
Thanks,
then.
Chris.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.